For step one, you'll be placing the front axle, which is this piece, onto the front chassis. So what you want to do is you want to take the steering gear here, line it up vertically, push it through the slot on the axle like that, go all the way down, and then pop it in like that. And then you'll see all these screw holes here. What you want to do is you want to take the 8 longer screws that come in the hardware kit, and you want to place them into 4 of the holes on the right and 4 of the holes on the left. You can use a regular Phillips head screwdriver, or you can use a drill driver like this. So let's go ahead and pop those on. Alright, that's the first side. Now we'll do this side over here. Again, 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you go. Now what you want to do is you want to secure this steering wheel box. So you want to place the washer back onto this rod here, and then you're going to take the little pin and you're going to place it on there. That should hold everything in place. There we go. Now when the steering wheel turns, this whole gearbox will turn, resulting in the wheels turning left to right. For step 2, you want to take the rear axle. Note that this is probably, when it comes shipped, it's probably attached to the front axle, so you just need to remove the nut on one side and pull it off. So each side has a nut and a washer. Pull those off, and then what you want to do is you want to stick this axle all the way down, all the way through this hole here. There we go. Get it nice and even, and this is where you're going to end up attaching the rear motors on the next step. Okay, for the tail end of step 2, you want to attach the rear motors. You have a rear right motor, they're labeled, a rear left motor. So over here, we want to put on the rear left motor. So to do this, what you're going to want to do is you want to take this harness here, this wiring harness, and you want to attach it. If you look inside this hole over here, you'll see the other end of the wiring harness. So this is the male side, the female side's in here. You want to fish this through this hole here, plug the two together. Okay, once those two are plugged together, you want to fish this through. You're going to feed the axle through this hole, stick the motor right into that hole there. Then you want to do the same thing on the other side. Attach the wiring harness, fish it through. Snap the two together. Slide it through the axle, stick the motor in that hole, all the way in. Perfect. Now you got the two rear motors attached and connected for power. Okay, for step 3, you want to attach the left and right support assemblies. These are the support assemblies. You notice the arrow here that should be facing the front of the vehicle, so that way towards the steering axle here. You notice that there are three little notches here. Those correspond to 1, 2, 3 little holes here, and then there's a screw hole over here. And then on the bottom, you notice that there's a slot here. This is the slot that this plastic edge is going to line up into. It's a little curvy out of the box here, a little bit warped, so it might take a little bit of finessing to get this to fit properly. Okay, and then these 3 screws up here are going to correspond to the screw holes that you see here. You can't really see them, but there they are, 1, 2, 3. So line those up. Then what you want to do is you want to take 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the shorter screws. And we're going to screw these in. Use the drill driver again. Not necessary, you could just use a Phillips head screwdriver if you want to. There you go. Now just make sure these are actually snapped in. You'll hear them snap. There you go. That's one side. Now we're going to do the other side over there. Okay, same thing on this side. We're going to line it up. I find it's easier to just line these 3 screws up first. Screw them in. Then line this screw up over here, pop it down. Get the rest of it lined up roughly so you won't have to work too hard after. You can even snap it in like that already if you want to. Pop this 4th screw in right over here. There we go. Snap that last one, and you're good to go over the side supports. Okay, now we're ready to attach the motors to the front axle. You got a front left and a front right motor. The best way to figure out what this is the front left. You see that it has male connectors, so it should go on the side that has a female connector over here. Okay, you want to make sure that this little plastic ring is securely inside the motor still. Okay, then you're going to slide it on, feed the harness through the hole right here. If you still have the nuts and washers on the end, you can unscrew those. They are 17 millimeters, so if you have a socket set, you can use that, or you can use this plastic tool that it comes with. Either way. All right, so there's one side that's on. Let's put the other motor on. Feed it through, and then we want to attach the 2 harness connectors, 1 on each side. There's 1, and there's 2. I like to feed these back down into the hole. There's not a lot of slack hanging around out here. Needs to get caught on. Okay. Now what you're going to want to do is you want to take your wheels. You notice that each wheel has one side that has a little plastic ring on it, as well as this gear cog shape. The other side looks like that, and it has labels on it. This is the side that the hubcap will attach to. This is the side that you want to actually put onto the motor. So go ahead and slide the wheel on. And you want to rotate it a little bit until it snaps into place on the motor like that. Same thing on the other side. Slide it on, roll it around until it snaps into place. Okay. Now we got the wheels, tires on either side. And what we want to do now is secure those wheels. Alright, to secure each wheel, take a washer that you pulled off the axle, take the lock nut, make sure you put this on the right way. You want the narrower side out, facing out, the nice flat wide side facing in. Alright, I mentioned before it's 17 millimeters. This is a 17 millimeter socket. Again, you could also use the tool that they provide if you prefer. Tighten it down until it's nice and snug. Don't over tighten it. Perfect. And let's do the other side. The washer on. And the nut. And tighten it down. Perfect. Okay, now you can place the wheel covers on each side. The wheel covers, you notice that they have these little clips all the way around the perimeter of the wheel cover. You You're going to want to find the notches here, here, etc., all the way around the wheel. And that's what's going to allow you to secure these on. Otherwise they will pop off if you don't have them nicely clipped on to place. Snap them in. Perfect. Now do it to the same thing on the other side. Line it up with the notches. That. And then pop it on. Just like a hubcap on an old car. There you go. The next step is to pop the back wheels on. Same deal. Slide it on. Wheel it around until it goes nicely into the notch. Put a washer on. Put a lock nut on. Tighten it down. Note that when you try to tighten this down, the entire axle is going to spin all the way through to the other side. So the best way to do this would be to have two people, one person tightening this one, the other person tightening the other one at the same time. If you have a really long wingspan, like really long arms, you could probably do both at the same time, and that's what I'm going to try to do today. So we go to the other side, pop the wheel on, washer, lock nut, perfect. Okay, now that you got that on one side, you can either use both of these, one on each side, and tighten them at the same time, or you can use a ratchet like what I have on the other side. But either way, what you want to do is stabilize one side like that, hold it, and then ratchet with the other side. Tighten with the other side. There we go, nice and tight. So now you look over here, you can confirm this is all the way tightened in. You should be able to see the axle poking through the lock nut. Same thing on the other side, should be able to see that axle poking through the lock nut. Perfect. Now all we have to do is pop on the hubcaps back here, just like we did on the front. Line them up to the notches, pop it in. Line it up to the notches. And then pop it in. Perfect. Now, we get all four wheels, all four hubcaps, all four motors, and all the two axles all hooked up. For the next step, you're going to want to flip it over now. Put it back up on its right side. We're basically done with the bottom for now. What I like to do to flip it, just grab it by the axle, front axle or the rear axle. Just walk around it, lower it down gently. There we go. And you want to take your seat. Make sure these seat belts are not underneath the seat. Put them up on top so they don't get trapped underneath. Okay, perfect. So you'll feel the seat go nicely into the notch like this. It does have the capability of sort of sliding forward and back. So we're going to secure it down closely at the edge of the seat. It's got this notch here. That notch is going to go right into this sliding rail right here. So you're going to put this back down in. It's a little bit tricky to attach this while the seat's in place, only because it's a tight spot. Nothing too bad. Now we want to take 4 screws and put them in place there. Okay, I got 1 screw in there. One's going to go right here, like that. And then I'm going to put these 2 in. Might be kind of hard to see. I apologize for that. Okay, there's one. And this last one back here, I won't be able to use a drill driver. You're going to need a regular Phillips head screwdriver, kind of long one. Now we want to do the exact same thing on this side. So we take that clip, pop it down in, make sure that the seat's actually lined up with that, so it'll slide. It'll slide underneath here, underneath here. All right, next step, you attach the steering wheel. Notice that it has a wiring harness on the back that you need to plug in. And then you're going to slide it on, and then you're going to use this bolt and nut to secure it. So first thing, take this wiring harness and attach it to here. And then there's a hole here, we can slide right onto here. Okay, once you put the steering wheel on, look through the hole there. Make sure you can see through the hole. You can see light through there. And you can place your lock nut. Right in that hole, like that. And then you can stick this bolt through the other side. To tighten it down, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver again. Now, this lock nut is basically secured in place in the plastic here, so you can kind of hold it with your thumb and make sure it's not spinning. On the other side, just take your Phillips head screwdriver, tighten it down. There we go. Nice and tight. And the steering wheel. Notice when you turn it, you can see the wheels turn now. Just make sure it's working. Perfect. Okay, next step, you want to attach the windshield and the sidebars. This is the windshield holder. Put it into this hole and that hole over there. You should feel it snap into place, both sides. Snap. Alright, and then we want to place the side rails on. These are the two side rails. Green side facing out. Snap right into place. Other side. Snap it right into place. Perfect. Alright, it's getting close. Next step is to attach these two rear light covers, one on each side. They're a little bit finicky. Okay. This one. So you notice that this does have LED light strips in here so that they do light up when you're driving. It's a nice touch. Perfect. All right, next up you want to attach the front bumper bar. So down here you'll notice a slot here and a slot over here. Simply slide it in there. Snap it into place. Okay, it's looking pretty good. The final step is to get the battery working. The battery is hiding underneath this panel. Okay, now when you're ready to access the battery and get it connected, you're going to want to slide these seats forward. up underneath on the front. There's a clip underneath here and a clip underneath here you can pull forward on, just like in a regular vehicle. And you can slide the seat forward. And you'll be able to access this panel. I slide it forward a little bit more, all the way. Then you can access this panel. Right, now with the seat slid all the way forward, remove these 4 screws back here. You'll be able to access the battery. Okay, so this is the fuse. So one side of this fuse is the line, one side is the load. You're going to want to place the line side facing the front of the vehicle. It's likely that it'll spark a little bit when you put it in. That's completely normal. Alright, now you're just going to secure this panel back down. Also, while we're in here, something good to point out, there's a little red lever here, a little red switch. Slide that over. That allows you to pull the battery out. Okay, this is how you're going to charge this battery, by using this charging port on the side. Okay, pretty heavy, bulky battery, seems pretty high quality. To put it back in, after you charge, you simply lower it down and clip it into place. Perfect. And there it is, all assembled.